Hello there, folks. It's Sunday. Welcome back to Spoiler Alert. We didn't make it to the cinema this week for a very good reason.
It was a good reason. We were watching a Netflix series that we loved. And
Yeah, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up for Dark.
For not being able to leave the house until we finished it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, we were gonna try and spread it out a little bit more, and then we got to the last 3 episodes. We were like, we just gotta watch them. We just gotta watch them all. We need answers. So yeah,
most of which we got.
Yeah, some of which we got. So yeah, Dark. It was kind of pitched a little bit like, especially like the advertising, the marketing for it, or the stuff I saw on Facebook was very much, if you liked Stranger Things, give this weird German series a try.
Well, yeah, it was like a German Stranger Things sort of. Which I think was a relatively fair comparison, really. I mean,
in the sense that it's about the weird and wonderful, but it's not quite as much of a kind of homage to 80s adventure horror.
No.
It's really dark. It's all about time travel. It's all about time travel and a vortex, like a wormhole underneath this remote German town of Winden, and how
it has some really terrifying forests.
Caves. Really terrifying inhabitants as well.
Yeah, like the entire town is insane.
Everyone's got like something dark in their pots. Maybe that's why it's called Dark.
They're also horrible to each other, and
yeah, there are a couple of real sociopaths, like the character of Hannah.
It's really clever because they show the characters at different ages of their life. So there's they're in every 33-year period. So there's 1953, 86, 2019, and we start to know that Hannah's not what she seems before the others do, and we know that she's done things as a child that, as adults, they still don't know that it was her that did. And so it's a really creepy way of sort of revealing the true depths of her character. And she's completely terrifying.
Yeah, she's weirdly obsessed with another character, Ulrich, and ends up sort of falsely reporting a rape that never happened back when she's like 14 or whatever, and then they're having an affair in the modern it's all kinds of messed up.
And you know that when you find out that it was her that reported him for this rape that he was arrested for, I thought that I didn't know whether he knew, and then it sort of starts to come out that he thought it was someone else in the town, and it was all just
so there's like
twisted.
33 years of like bitterness and awful, uncomfortable local tensions built upon like myriad lies and stuff.
And horrible treatment towards that one girl that they thought it was her for 33 years.
Like, it's all kinds of messed up. So it's interesting that like the time the time travel breaks down these characters and their interactions, and then of course you have like these plot elements like the son of Ulrich turning out to be the main character, Jonas's father, and it's like it's riddled with paradoxes and sort of temporal loops and like a Roboros chains, and it's really fascinating and really, really engrossing. It reminded me a lot of like the first season of Lost before everything went downhill. Like the first season of Lost was great, and we had all these questions, and they only sort of partially got answered, and it left the door open for a lot more that we hoped would get answered. And it turns out that the writers on Lost obviously really didn't know where the hell they were taking that. And I really hope that the writers on Dark know where they're taking this.
I hope so, because there are a lot of questions that need to be answered that I can deal with not being answered if they are in season 2. But if some of them were not, were to be forgotten, then that would really frustrate me. Like,
it's a real ensemble piece in the sense that there are so many characters and such richness to these characters. Like, why does the police dude have an eye patch? What is with Alexander's fake passport? Did he kill a man? We don't know yet. There are so many characters that haven't quite been fully fleshed out yet, or we haven't seen their kind of backstory.
Bartosz is working with Noah, the priest, potentially, and we don't know what his role is now.
What's Bartosz's role with Noah? What's Noah's role in all of this?
And Bartosz and Marta have now got back together after he cheated on her with Jonas, and it's like...
I mean, she cheated on him.
Oh, sorry, yeah. What did I say?
He cheated on her.
No, she cheated on him with Jonas, who's his best friend.
His aunt.
But now Bartosz. No, sorry. Oh my goodness. So this is what the show does to you. I was we've had it on pause, being like, so this is this person's aunt, and then they're married, and then they kissed, but and that was that person when they're a child, and now they're grown up and they're really old, and it's
you
all
need a temporal family tree, like a village map of Vinland across the years.
But don't let this put you off, because it's amazing, and I mean, I hope you've already seen it, because we've just ruined everything if you haven't.
It's called spoiler alert for a reason.
It is, but it's so good, and obviously it's in German, which is great. Makes me happy.
I like that though. We actually instantly turned off the dub. I hate dubs because dubs tend to be terrible, and it doesn't match what's happening on the screen, which instantly takes you out of it. Yeah. So we watched it in German with English subtitles for me, and it was kudos to Netflix for picking it up, I think, because it is really, really engrossing, and I think it makes there must be so much international television out there that is being made to this kind of quality and this kind of level. And
we said that after Deutschland 83, didn't we? I mean, which was another German series that was amazing. It wasn't on Netflix, but was it? I can't remember where we watched it now, but I don't think it was. It wasn't a Netflix thing anyway. It was a German show, but it got a lot of publicity, and people started watching it and were like, oh, there's a German show that everyone is really liking, and I'm hoping that Dark, I mean, it's been renewed for a second season, so I'm hoping that means that we do. So I hope that means that a lot of people are watching it, and it's great. I mean, it's a good thing that it has been dubbed for people that don't like reading subtitles. It's going to widen the audience. But I was happy that we were allowed to not do the dubbing, because I like listening to German, so it made me happy. But I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff going in the town that I found quite unbelievable. I mean, so most of it is set the present day is 2019. There's this terrifying forest. These kids are going home from school by themselves. They're all doing drugs in the cave, basically, or drug dealing or whatever. They're involved in some really shady stuff. Many of the children, there are actually no scenes in the entire season with them and their parents. There was
with the exception of them being at home and crying about missing people.
Yeah, but the parents just have no interaction with their children. Bartosz and his parents are not once in the same building. There is genuinely no scene where Bartosz's mum and dad are at home together, or when he talks to either of his parents. So there's this really weird sense of removal that the parents don't know what is going on in the children's lives at all. The children have no idea what these parents have been doing. And 33 years earlier, when all this sort of strange stuff happened the first time round, these adults are still living that horror, really, and are now reliving it. They know what they're going through. They know what it's going to be like. But instead of sort of talking to the children about it, they all just get on and do their own things and travel in time and kill people and do what they need to do to really focus on it. And the children, meanwhile, are living their own lives, doing their own thing, getting kidnapped left, right and centre because the parents aren't watching them at all. And it's 2019! I get that it's Germany, not England, but I would have thought that there is some semblance of the fear that parents have these days that don't let kids out of their sight for a second would stop them from letting their kids cycle home through these really horrible woods and caves and, in sort of almost darkness by themselves. But maybe I'm just being...
No, I found the level of parenting in this show to be wanting.
That's one way of putting it.
This is the thing, the present's supposed to be 2019, and it's... Okay, so in normal circumstances, maybe, but when you literally have two young boys who have mysteriously just gone missing, and the entire town is there's a shot at one point, it focuses on about maybe 10, 12 people, or sort of a handful of families, but you see this one shot of people lining the streets with placards saying, "Where are our kids?" basically, or something like that. What are the police doing, sort of thing. So there's clearly a larger community in Linden. But the thing is, there's never a sense of particular, oh my god, we've got to protect the remaining children from getting there's no one kind of monitoring how they get to and from school. It's just oh no, you took the forest road. That's a shame. To an 8-year-old girl who's deaf and dumb, who cannot, she genuinely cannot hear or speak, and
gets abandoned at school.
This is it, yeah. The most ridiculous scene in the film, you have a woman who Now, admittedly, this is awesome. She's chief of police. Great. So she's locking it down in terms of like the professional capacity, and she's clearly under some stress because kids are disappearing. But this is the thing: as a chief of police, kids are disappearing. You have a daughter who is deaf and dumb, and deaf and mute, and needs quite clearly, to be taken home. You promise her that you're going to pick her up from school because you want to make sure she gets home all right, and then abandon her because you're creeping around a shed, and then phone your husband late. What? That's the worst parenting ever.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. There's also a bit of weird violence between the children. So they're in the caves and they're trying to find this drug stash, and Bartosz, who is dating Marta, who is the sister of Magnus and Mikkel, who are also both there, he pushes Franziska over because he wants the drugs and she's holding the drugs. And he pushes her to the floor really quite violently and then grabs this enormous bag of drugs from her. And no one moves, no one flinches, no one comments, no one stops him, no one asks her if she's alright, no one helps her up. And in 2019, if you see your boyfriend push over another girl who you're also at school with, or if you see your sister's boyfriend push over a girl, are you not going to be like, maybe this guy is actually not okay for my sister? Like, what? There was just at no point was that okay. It was just so unrealistic.
It's not great. It
was just like, this is just stupid.
Sort of instantly established Bartosz as a bit of a dick.
Well, yeah, and he is, so fine. Like, it was a useful sense of, like, direction for his character.
But yeah, it's quite surprising that no one reacted.
Yeah, it made me judge them a whole lot more as well.
Yeah. Very strange.
I thought that was silly. I would not stand by and watch that. But, maybe they all just wanted the drugs too bad. I don't know. But anyway, so there were some minor things that were a bit like, come on, guys, this is not how it works.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief that you have to undertake in going into this show. It does get weird. Things get really weird. Things do get really, as the title suggests, dark. Like, there's a scene where Ulrich attempts to stop the bad things from happening. So he goes back in time and he attempts to basically eliminate a character who he believes is responsible for this whole cycle of kidnappings and awfulness. As a child. So he ends up going back to 1953 and chasing down this young boy who will grow up to become a man who helps Noah kidnap a whole bunch of children. And the culmination of the scene, he's sort of kneeling over him with this massive rock in his hand, and you're thinking, okay, no, he's actually just going to stop here. Morality's going to kick in. He's a police officer. He's going to be like, what am I doing? I'm about to murder a child. And no, that doesn't happen. Instead, the rock comes crashing down, and you're like,
several times.
So there's some quite shocking moments in this.
But it's really interesting that, as you say, he's a police officer, and he is. I mean, he has as a teenager, he obviously is troubled. But although he's arrested for rape, he didn't commit the rape. Like, he didn't beat up his girlfriend Katerina. Like, she was beaten up by her mum, so she's got a black eye, and they think, oh, he raped her. He did it. This must be corroborating Hannah's story. So it's he does have his moments, but essentially he's not. I mean, he is a police officer. He's not a murderer. Like, he suffered from the disappearance of his brother when, 33 years before, when he was a kid, and then his son goes missing. And really, it's a conflict of police officer versus father. Yeah. And he's a grieving father. He's lost his son. He knows he probably won't ever see him again. Especially as the kid's in 1986 and he's in 1953 and they all should be in 2019. So, he knows that it's desperate, and it's that pain and thinking, if I kill this child, my son will never go missing.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting conflict, and you see him, as you say, he pauses before he does it, and you think he's not going to do it. But then the father wins out in him. And it's a really fascinating element of his character. I mean, it's horrible, and obviously, poor kid. But yeah, I thought Ulrich was a really interesting character.
Yeah, it's not the happiest show.
No,
it's not particularly light, as the title suggests. But it is it was really engrossing.
Yeah.
Like, I think they reached a point sort of in the middle where I was kind of like, okay, I need a little something to hold on to right now because you're throwing more questions in without answering anything or delivering much more information. But I think by the end,
well, they started throwing bones.
They started throwing bones at us. We started to realise the significance of certain characters and certain actions. Certain things came to a head, to a conclusion, and certain realisations happened that, meant that I kind of ended season 1 relatively happy and intrigued to know more, which is kind of like the perfect thing. That's kind of where you want to be at the end of something like this. I just hope that they can continue it.
Let's hope so.
With season 2.
Yeah, we look forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to it a lot. Double thumbs, actually.
Double thumbs. We loved it. And let us
it.
know what you think.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to get more opinions because I don't really know anyone that's watched it yet. I'm telling now everyone I know to watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, please comment below and let us know what you think.
Yeah, hit us up with your thoughts in the comments, folks. Be sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And we'll be back next Sunday with more spoiler alert. But until then, bye.
Have a good week. Bye.